So you've spent your career thus far actually on both sides of this sort of emerging television landscape, right? You've been in classic television buying, and now within Cadreon, you're in essence in the digital sort of side of things. So how has your experience been thus far in a Cadreon with clients who want to do advanced television?
I think that it's been a challenge, but also refreshing at the same time. There are a lot of clients who are digital background and are willing to do new things in the space and test and learn. And but there are clients that are traditional and they're very rooted in their traditional TV and their GRPs, and they know that this has worked in the past. And if it's not broken, why fix it? So it's very interesting to have those conversations and kind of have to tailor the way that you're pitching advanced TV to the client based on what makes the most sense for them and their business goals.
How do you then, what is the value that you sort of ascribe to advanced television things, whether it be programmatic or advanced addressability or data infused? I mean, to the television crowd, right, it seems like it's an add-on, but to the digital crowd, it feels like a great big greenfield of opportunity. I mean, do you have to convince the clients, or are they asking you, or is it a combination of the two?
It's a combination of the two. I think that there are like the digital-based clients that were smaller and they were playing in the digital field a lot as a first go at their media. And now that they have this advanced TV, they feel comfortable there and they know the ins and outs a little bit better. And they're not having to spend as much money to reach their target audience. And that opens up the door for them to get into TV, whereas some of the bigger, more foundational TV advertisers have been a little more sheepish. Sometimes they have these sponsorships, and that's working for them, and that's where they're having mass awareness. And some clients are not focused on a niche audience. They want to reach everybody. Maybe a chocolate company might want to reach anybody with a mouth. How do you make that targeted? So finding ways to pitch it to them that might make sense.
How about internally? How is the television conversation evolving within the IPG family, right? Because you're talking about classic TV people and classic digital people basically chasing the same sort of end state, which is owning, if you will, in front of the client, advanced television activities. Is there collaboration? Is there a siloing? Is there work to be done to bring those two sort of historic disciplines together? Give us a sense of sort of how you sort of see the internal mechanisms of getting advanced television across the goal line for clients.
Mm-hmm. So I think Cadreon has done a really good job about bringing everybody together and having everybody on the same side, and knowing, rather than having us fight against each other and like, no, you're taking my budget, no, I need to do this, we're working together and almost on the same team. So we're sitting with them at the core of the planning process and understanding, okay, what makes the most sense? I'm not trying to take away an investment, a traditional investment job. And it's just, how do we modify what we're doing to make and work together to get to that end goal?
How does digital video play in all of this, right? Because digital video is probably the most visceral expression of digital and television kind of fusing together. Do your clients need to be doing digital video to even understand advanced television when you bring it up, or can they go directly into the television realm from digital, or is digital video an easier way to get to a television conversation?
I think that it's confusing, especially because the OTT is like really a gray area there. So we're trying to navigate that space within Cadreon right now, because there are clients that have been doing already connected TV and digital video through that digital side. And then now that this is still airing on a TV set, so who do you go to? Where's your strategy? So that's also, I think, bringing us together with our digital counterparts, because a traditional client might come to me with that type of budget rather than through the digital route. But I still have to work with them to figure out, how do we place this? And it's bought in a completely different manner than traditional TV, and maybe it's bought in an actual programmatic space. And so I think that the OTT space is really going to help us bring together and learn how to work together much better than we have in the past.
And what questions do you hear most from clients when you even broach the idea of addressable targeted advertising or data-infused audience buying for television? What kind of questions do you hear the most, and how do you sort of tackle them to get them comfortable with testing, learning, taking some activity in the space?
Mm-hmm. Addressable, I think, is becoming pervasive, and a lot of clients are willing to test and learn, but there are a lot of hurdles there at the same time, because you have a traditional client who's used to their network and day part, and they're used to having a do not air list and knowing exactly where they're going to air in that content. And addressable doesn't really work that way. And changing that mindset and helping them feel comfortable about focusing on the target audience and making sure that you're reaching the right people is a conversation. And then how do you say to test and learn you need more than $50,000? It becomes expensive. And then working with them to understand that what you're going to learn on the back end might be worth the investment on the front end. It's tough.
All right, last question. What verticals or clients, what areas of the clients that you serve, like are there particular categories of advertiser that are more likely to jump at the chance to do more advanced strategies in television than, say, others?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're seeing it from a smaller advertiser that has a very niche target. It's a shoe-in. It makes sense for them. They don't want to spend a ton of money and waste it and not reaching people that aren't going to convert. And then there's also traditional advertisers who know that they need to be smarter. I mean, everybody has data now, so they're looking to us to, how do I leverage this data, and how do I make sense of it, and how do I make my dollars work harder for me in the television space?
And this will be the last question. Is third-party data better or worse than first-party data? I mean, do you salivate when a client has their own first-party proprietary data and says, can we apply this to television? I got to imagine yes.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially in the addressable space, because you are working with that one-to-one. It's so much better, and it makes the targeting that much more refined, and make hopefully also the results on the back end that much better, because the more granular you're able to get and the better you're able to identify your strategic target and your key consumer, that just makes it the plan as a whole more beneficial to the advertiser, I think.
What do you wish your clients knew more about sort of the future of television so that they could get more enthused about it and not have to sell them hard on the idea?
I think it's still becoming comfortable with the space and knowing that this is going to work. And because the currency is a problem, I think right now it's the GRP to a strategic target impression to whatever it is in OTT at the time. The measurement's limited there, so it's kind of balancing all of that and helping them understand, I think. And because digital has become such a big part of advertisers' plans and in the past couple of years, I think that they're excited to start applying those principles to TV.